Ladies and gentlemen, this is the 12th and final round.
Right hand, Golovkin steps in and down he goes again. Unbelievable. Mayweather makes a pay. What a rookie mistake. A sensational left hook by De La Hoya.
It's fact. I'm the best. You know what I mean? Sometimes I don't want to believe it myself, but it's the truth. I'm the best.
I'm going to show you how great I am.
From Southern California, this is the Last Round Podcast.
In this week's interview, we have Victor Morales Jr., 15-0. Thanks for joining me, Victor.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right, so we'll just jump straight in. So, where did you grow up and how did you get involved in boxing?
I grew up in Vancouver, Washington, so right across the bridge, about 10 minutes from Portland, Oregon. Got in the gym. My dad was looking for a boxing gym for himself, and I ended up just following him there when I was about 6 or 7 and started.
So did your dad did he train? Did he spar? Did he box amateur? What did your dad do?
He had a few amateur fights, but he boxed when he was younger too, down south. So when he moved up back, he wanted to start boxing again. And obviously he had sons, so he wanted to bring them into the sport too. And now we're here.
When I was doing the research for the interview, I read actually that when you were about 4 years old, you had some, I don't think it says, like some type of illness that you needed.
Yeah.
Can you break down that for us?
So when I was about 3 or 4, I had a meningitis scare, which required them to do a spinal tap and remove fluid from my spine. And there was a possibility that because I was so young that I was going to twitch and that it was going to possibly paralyze me, from that part of my body down in my spine. So it was a risk that my parents were willing to take, but on one condition that my dad was going to be able to hold me as hard as he could to make sure that I didn't move. And so they went along with it. And sure enough, I was still managed to just barely move a bit. And it happened to get me. So I was probably wasn't able to use really my legs until it wasn't completely, but I kind of lost a lot of movement and everything from about my lower back down, and just had to regain it over time. It just took about 1.5 years to kind of learn how to just crawl again, and then eventually back up on my feet again.
Just kind of showed the warrior spirit you have, right? I guess from a young age.
Yeah.
So you started boxing. Who were your favorite fighters when you were growing up?
Oscar De La Hoya was my favorite fighter at the time, and he still is. But when I was growing up, that's really who I was looking up to, and who I would look forward to meeting. And then, as I got older, I was like, if I ever got the chance, I want to sign with this promotion. And sure enough, I turned pro. I think I had 12 fights or so as a pro, and then I ended up getting signed by Golden Boy. It was a dream come true.
Do you see any of Oscar in your style now? Do you think you took anything from him, looking up to him as a youngster?
I think so. He always had like a mean hook. I feel like I have one of my favorite punches, strong punches, is a hook. And just, I just grew up watching him and kind of figured not just the boxing, but he was always a good guy and before he got into trouble. But yeah, I always looked up to him.
You had a quite extensive and successful amateur career. If you can just go into that for everybody.
Yeah, I was 118-12 as an amateur. I was an amateur from 7 years old to 18. Multiple national championships, international champion, international gold medalist in 2014. And we just traveled a lot. I mean, there's not a lot of boxing where we're from, at least not high level boxing. So for me to get to the level that I was, I had to travel around and do a lot of national tournaments and stuff. So it just takes a lot of money to just move around and just really pick things at each tournament.
I saw you were on Team USA with Devin Haney and a few others. Who was on the team at the same time as you?
It was me, Devin Haney, Daniel Gonzalez, which he's not with us anymore. I think those are us three were the bigger names. There was 2 others but I can't necessarily remember their names because we didn't hang out too much.
Could you see when you were young that Devin Haney was going to be the guy that he is now, I guess?
Yeah, we assumed that he was going to be, there. He was always moved around very well. And they always had the backing to really push him forward. So once he got to where he was, we weren't really surprised.
So you had that successful amateur career. Obviously, you decided to turn pro. Who were the promotions that were looking at you at the time that you signed for Golden Boy?
We did a couple of fights for Top Rank. Sean Porter was starting his promotional company when I turned pro. We worked with, my first fight was with the PVC. And we just kind of saw the deals. If the deals didn't make sense, we didn't take them. We weren't in a rush. We were looking for the deal that was going to best improve me and take me to where I wanted to be.
And that ultimately led you to Golden Boy.
Yeah.
Did you get to meet Oscar?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I've met Oscar a few times. He's an awesome guy. What can I say?
Right. So how was it making your professional debut?
It was, in a lot of ways, it was super different. There's big arenas, the big weigh-in before, all the media. So to be able to sit back and say, oh, it was super easy. No, it wasn't, because I wasn't used to any of that. Everything was different up until the point that I hopped into the ring. Everything was the same once I was in the ring.
What's it like when you're in the locker room and obviously you get in your hand wrapped and you're like, okay, it's time for war?
Yeah, that was it. And Sean Porter and Kenny Porter, they were there. They're the ones that turned me pro. So they were there kind of, Sean gave me a pep talk like before the weigh-ins, before the fight and stuff. And that really helped, calm me and to be able to see what was going to happen. That way I wasn't going in there in a huge stadium and just freeze. They were able to really free me up so that it wasn't so stressful, I guess you could say.
I mean, I go to a lot of fights, as a fan and obviously as media as well through the podcast. Do you think it's a good thing for some of the young fighters, because you see them, they kind of go as guests, and I guess they get to kind of immerse themselves, being like near ringside, seeing everybody. Do you think doing stuff like that makes it a little bit easier when they actually go there, for the first time to fight?
I guess so, just so they can see the crowd and things that are going on outside. Otherwise, there's really nothing to help you, once you're inside the ring. Once you're inside the ring, the fight is the fight, and whatever's going to happen is going to happen,
What goes through your mind on that short walk from the curtain to the ring?
That, this is the time to shine. We did, more than over 8 weeks of work. I just spent 2 weeks out here, or 8 weeks out here, but I spent a lot of time at home. I'm always in the gym year round. So it really is that time to just look around, see everything that's going on, see everything as I'm walking, to the ring in the stadiums, and then enjoy that walk, because now it's time to shine. Once I get to the ring, it's time to shine.
We spoke before, we started recording, and I asked you about, whether you lived in California now or you were in Washington, and you were saying that you just come out here for your camps and you spend your time between Freddie's gym and Buddy's gym. What's the sparring like? It's world famous, but what's the sparring like at a Wildcard?
A lot of punches, a lot of pressure. Freddie sends his guys to do a lot of work, a lot of high intensity work. So that's what we expect, and that's the kind of things that we need, because that's what we expect our opponents to bring. I'm a boxer, so the first thing people are going to want to do is put pressure, and so that's why we go there to just settle into that and be able to work under that pressure.
I read on your Instagram that Freddie said something nice. I think, was it this week, that he's got you nailed on for a world champion?
Yeah, that was actually my last camp. I was sparring with one of their guys, and he walked over to my dad as I was in the round, during the round, and he looked over at my dad. He says, he's going to be a world champion. He's going to be a world champion. I promise you that. And so I went on to finish the round, and my dad, I came back to my corner, and my dad was like, hey, Freddie, come over here and tell him what you told me. And so he repeated it, and it was a good feeling for sure.
What's some of the names, some of the people that we know that you've sparred?
I've sparred with I sparred with a lot of people. I sparred with Sean Porter, Leo Santa Cruz. I've done rounds with Devin Haney, Darren Cunningham. I've done work with everybody. We don't say no to work. We come out here to get the best work.
Sparring Sean Porter must have been a bit of a task for you. He's probably like double the size, isn't he?
Yeah. He was working on things. I was also working on things, and not every sparring session is a head-to-head war. You know, he was working on things with his dad. I was working on things with mine.
So just break down. You come over to California for your 8-week camp. Just kind of break down your training routine for us.
Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I'm sparring and doing strength conditioning. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, I'm doing technical stuff. You know, sharpening things up. Sunday's a rest day, but I'm pretty much gone all day, doing different things for training, and it really is just like, you know, a full-time job while I'm out here.
How many rounds of sparring would you average during an 8-week camp?
It's about 10 to 12 rounds each day. So 3 days a week and 8 weeks. I mean, it's a lot of sparring.
I was going to say, I couldn't add that up.
Not on the top of my head. I can't add that up.
So whilst you're in camp, do you also study your opponent?
Of course. I study my opponent, study also other films. I'm staying updated with all the fights and stuff, because there's always something that we can add to the arsenal, whether it's going to work or not. That's why we're here, to do it in sparring, do it in training, to see what things work and what things don't. But of course, I take a lot of time to study my opponent, see what they're going to do, see what they don't do. And so that way we're ready on fight night.
At the same time, do you study like some of the greats? You go back in time and look at some of the best boxers?
Of course. I don't so much go too far back, because the style of boxing then, now, it's just really not the same. But it is good to go and pick up old things from old fights and add them to things that I'm doing now.
Do you have any favorites that you go back and you think, their style's kind of similar to mine, and, some of the things you've picked up?
Super far back, no. I watched a lot of Andre Ward film, so that's my number one guy that I like to go to nowadays is Andre Ward, and study a lot of his film, because what he did and what he does in the ring is similar almost to kind of what I was doing into the ring.
What sort of influence did Sean Porter have on you? Because I know that you sparred with him, he helped you turn pro, and do you still keep in touch with him?
Oh yeah, we met him in 2010, actually at the Wild Card, when he was the main sparring partner for Manny Pacquiao at the time. Him and his dad and my dad kind of linked up, and we've been friends since then. We keep up with each other all the time. I actually just got off a FaceTime call with him yesterday, because I'm going to be doing some commentating on Thursday, and I was trying to get some tips from him on things that I should look out for, or things that I should think about while I'm doing it.
Is that the Golden Boy card at Fantasy Springs?
Yes.
I'll see you there.
Okay.
So we'll touch on that. What sort of advice did he give you for the commentary?
Just to go out there and have fun, be the expert, because that's what, the people that are listening in, they're expecting me to be the expert, and just to go out there and have a lot of fun. Don't stress out about it. Have fun. This is a time to show your other side.
You had a successful amateur career. You're unbeaten as a pro. You're good friends with Sean Porter. You're already starting a commentary gig. Freddie Roach has just said you're going to be a world champion. How do you keep yourself grounded?
There's always going to be someone that's trying to knock you off your hi-hat, and so for that reason, I just pretty much take things as they come, and keep working hard, because there's always going to be, I don't want to be outworked. And that's the biggest thing. I'm never going to be outworked. I'm never going to be outsmarted. And so I go out into the ring and into training camp every day, knowing that.
Do you bring your son, Rocky Morales? Does he come with you for training camp?
No. My dog doesn't come with me. He stays at home and keeps my fiance busy, and he's pretty much me when I'm gone.
Oh, really? So looking forward to this next fight, you're obviously fighting May the 12th at Fantasy Springs against Alberto Torres. What do you know about Alberto?
He's a southpaw, kind of awkward in a way. But all these guys, they're going to come to fight. That's what I expect him to do. Come and fight, be awkward, and try and throw me off my game. That's his plan.
On the same card is a former opponent of yours, Rudy Garcia. You actually had was it split draw last time you fought? That's the only kind of like blemish, I guess, on your record. If you win and he wins, is this something that we'll see the rematch?
I hope so. That's something that we were pushing for in the very beginning. Who knows if I don't know that they were trying to take that fight. I don't really know. I don't really care. Do I want that rematch? Absolutely. I want to get, the fight that I thought that I won. I want to get that back and really put a stamp on it this time. But we're going to go out there and hopefully he wins. I'm going to go out there and do my job, and hopefully we can make the rematch happen.
How many times would you like to fight this year?
I'm fighting 3 times this year.
You said that confidently. Is that already written in?
No, it's just some of the things that we've agreed upon team-wise. I'm fighting 3 times a year.
You're in a strong division. Looking at the top of the division, you've got Navarrete, Lara, Josh Warrington. If you could kind of like plan out your next few fights, which one would you like to go for? Like, which big name would you think you could knock off stylistically?
I think Josh Warrington over in the UK. Another guy, good fighter, good boxer. But definitely want to get my chance at any of those 3 guys, any of the top guys. But that's why we have to go through every fight to prove that we're taking steps towards those fights.
You're already 15-0. How many fights away do you think you are from, reaching somebody in like the top 10?
I should be, at the end of this year, maybe beginning of next year, we should be in the top 10.
Do you have anything on your boxing bucket list, like any countries you'd like to fight in, like any arenas?
Arena-wise, no, but I think it'd be cool to go fight in a big arena in the UK. They're also big fight fans, just like we are in the US. That'd be a trip to go to.
I saw on your Instagram you actually had, I think it was a fan in Mexico, already had a tattoo of you.
Yeah, it wasn't in Mexico. They might have gotten the tattoo in Mexico. It's actually someone from around the area that I'm from. But yeah, they were starting a sleeve of local fighters that were top fighters, and he made me the first person.
How did that make you feel? When somebody had already, so early on in your career had already inked them onto his body.
It put me in perspective of the spot that I'm really sitting in right now. As I'm getting these fights and moving up in the ranks, I guess I don't necessarily see it as being super big because it's such a slow moving thing. But once you take a step back and look, then it makes you realize like I'm really in a really good position that sometimes that I don't realize.
How did COVID affect your career over the last 2 years?
I actually ended up having a hand injury right when COVID shut everything down. So I had 3 surgeries on my hand and pretty much took all of 2020 to really do the surgeries, get my hand right, do physical therapy, and most importantly, spend time with the family that I haven't really spent too much time and had like vacation with. So because growing up from 7 until 18 or 7 until 2020, we didn't really have like super good family time. It was always like we would go out to boxing tournaments as a family, but we're always doing something. Everybody's always doing something. So to be able to sit down and really enjoy family time, it was good. It was definitely a big refresh, so that once 2021 started, I knew this is when we're starting again.
Your father is actually your coach, correct?
Mm-hmm.
How is that dynamic? Is it when you go into the gym, it's kind of like work time, but then when you step out, it's back to being dad?
Yeah, that's actually exactly how it goes, because he says that if he steps into the into the gym or into the ring, him thinking as my dad that he's not going to probably make the right decision. So there's always been that break, you know, from dad to coach. And he said, that's the most important thing, because I need to be able to look at you as my fighter, not as my son.
It seems to be kind of like a popular dynamic lately. You've obviously got Lomachenko's been successful, Devin Haney, Teofimo Lopez, you know, who are all around right now that have the same, you know, structure, you know, father, son.
Yeah, it definitely takes a lot of, you know, being able to go on and off, shutting it off, and then knowing the respect. That's the big thing, you know. Maybe some people spend so much time with one person and they're with their father. Maybe that's why some of these father-sons don't really work out. I'm not really sure, but we've been able to make this work, and that's how it's going to stay.
Was he already a coach before you started, or did he kind of like learn on the job alongside you?
It was a little bit of both. He started coaching us, and from the very beginning, and then as he was learning and he was teaching us at the same time. And just being a sponge is really what it is.
And he's surrounded by some of the best, obviously, when you're spending a lot of time with Freddie Roach, a lot of time with Buddy McGurk. What sort of advice have both of them given you?
Just different things, you know, to go out there and do what I usually do, to be prepared for different things. And it's hard to put, you know, the name on one thing, because they've given us so much information, whether it's, you know, directly or even just seeing what they're having their guys do, and being able to see that and attach it to us.
What do you like to do in your downtime to get away from boxing?
I like to spend a lot of time with family. We go out, we're into cars, we're into like riding ATVs and stuff. So we go out, and that's pretty much what we do as a dad 10.
Where would you like to see yourself career-wise, you know, 5 years from now?
I'd like to be a world champion in 5 years. World champion and have it defended at that point.
Do you think you'll stay at featherweight, or do you think just due to, you know, growing, you'll have to move up?
I'm sure as the time goes that I'll have to move up to 130 and then maybe 135 by retirement. Who knows? But right now, my thing is 126. That's where we're going to make a statement. And then as we feel the need to move up, we'll move up.
I look forward to it. I look forward to seeing you on Thursday. If you want to give anybody, Victor, your shout out to where they can find you on your social media handles, anything else that you've got going on this year?
Not that I know of. I don't have too much going on the rest of the year. I know I'm going to be fighting this fight and then 2 more fights this year. I'm starting to do some commentating this Friday or this Thursday. So hopefully that'll keep me busy throughout the year. And, but yeah, if you guys want to give me a follow, it's on Instagram at @official_Victor Morales.
Awesome. Good luck for your fight in May, and I'll come over and introduce himself on Thursday when I see you. I appreciate you.
Sounds good.
Giving me 30 minutes of your day, Victor.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for supporting and listening to the show. Follow us at The Last Round 12 on social media. Rate, review, and subscribe. This is The Last Round Podcast.